This is a Kickstarter backer update.
Welcome back to this Kickstarter update for George Lucas, The Lost Golden Age. We are just 10 days away from the completion of the Kickstarter and really, really thrilled at how it's been going. We've crossed over the $35,000 mark, which is incredibly exciting. And looking forward to these final 10 days of the campaign. Daniel, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. And, if we get to 40,000, everyone gets a soundtrack. So I think we have plenty of time and we're really close enough. So I think that's likely going to happen.
Absolutely. And jumping off of that, we were really excited to be able to announce a new add-on item to the Kickstarter a couple of days ago. But it's still fresh, so if you haven't heard about it, there's still time for you to get over there and add this on. One of the composers of Young Indiana Jones, the composer of the Shadows of the Empire soundtrack, Radioland Murders. Currently, he's working on stuff like The Orville. He worked on American Dad for a long time, done a lot of Seth MacFarlane kind of projects. Joel McNeely, big fan of the show, and we're a big fan of his. And he very kindly agreed to sign a number of CDs and vinyls for the campaign. So this is something that you can add on either to your existing membership or contribution rather, under the add-on feature, or you can, if you haven't contributed yet, you can add it on when you basically go to checkout. So what you do is you first select your membership tier. It has to be above the $20 one because that is the minimum for physical rewards. So you have to go with the $20 one or higher. And then when you go to the next stage of the checkout process, you'll be able to select some add-ons and you'll see the Joel's autographed items on that add-on area.
And don't forget that Joel is the composer for the theme of George Lucas, The Lost Golden Age.
Of course. I mean, who can forget? We're really grateful for Joel for doing that and taking the time. And, we're just thrilled to have him, thrilled to be doing this, and just nothing but joy all around.
If you're listening to today's episode, you will notice that there is no teaser at the end of the episode, as there has been after every episode we've done. And that is because we are actually recording our next episode, possibly as you're listening to this. We're thrilled that Gavin Bickay, who certainly will be one of our primary guests in the documentary, is coming on for an episode of the podcast to discuss the documentary in the middle of his busy schedule, working on the Avengers films. We're very excited. We wanted to get that episode to you as soon as possible, which means there will not be time to edit a teaser before this episode drops. So we're thrilled to have Gavin back and excited for you to hear next time's episode.
Some other news about the documentary. We recently conducted a remote interview. We won't be doing too many remote interviews, but for some people, it makes the most sense to do that. But we conducted a remote interview with Jimmy McInerney. He's the co-host of Rebel Force Radio, one of the top Star Wars podcasts. And long running too. We were just talking about this earlier, but they first started up in 2006, just after the prequels ended, and looking towards Star Wars Clone Wars and really a whole new era of Star Wars. And then have really been such a beacon and a strong supporter for the fan community and fan activities over the years. So we've been a big fan of their show for a long time, and it was really great to be able to sit down with Jimmy and talk not just about Star Wars in the 90s, but also just about the impact and fan relation over the years of Lucasfilm and George Lucas. So it was really great to be able to talk to him. And if he's listening, thank you again for hopping on.
That's the type of guy he is. Taking filmmaking and pushing it to the next level. Is there going to be another George Lucas after this is all said and done? Hard to say. Who's going to be pushing filmmaking? Or has filmmaking been pushed as far as it can go? We'll have to wait and see.
I like to think of them as like the Today Show of Star Wars, or the Tonight Show even, actually might be better. Johnny Carson.
I always like to think of them more as like a morning talk show from the, that we would have grown up with in the 90s, but it's just about Star Wars. So it's like, yeah, that's the sort of talk show I always dreamed of listening to.
We wanted to let everyone know that as we get close to the end of our campaign, we have some special plans for the final day of the Kickstarter, which is a Sunday, November 30th. The Kickstarter actually ends early in the morning of December 1st. So we're treating Sunday as our last hurrah. And we actually want all of you to participate. Peter, why don't you tell them what we're going to do?
So on the 30th, we're going to be doing a live stream event, very much in the vein of like a PBS membership drive or a charity sort of special or something like that. We're going to be coming to you live, doing some audio commentaries for Young Indiana Jones episodes. There'll be some special guests coming in. The idea is just to kind of celebrate not just the end of the campaign, but also this time period in George's life, and kind of do our little bit of a holiday special for everyone. So we're still working out some of the details about the timing and how long it'll be and when we start, when we finish, but expect a long day. So we'll be coming to you live on YouTube, on Instagram. And if you want to hop on, we'll have links provided as we get closer. It's going to be a really fun time, and hope you'll be able to join us.
Yeah, we'll have some call-in features. So get ready with your questions about the documentary or your stories about George or the time you saw the special edition in the theater or Radioland Murders, anything like that. We want to hear all that, and who knows? Maybe if you tell a really good story, we'll put it in the documentary. Who knows?
Well, Daniel, I think that's all of our updates. So why don't we take a step back here, and we'll go into this new episode of Young Indy Chroniclers with Paige Thomas. We're the Young Indy Chroniclers podcast, and we're producing a new feature-length documentary, George Lucas, The Lost Golden Age.
Those 4 years in there was the happiest period for Lucasfilm.
We're thrilled to report Rick McCallum has agreed to sit with us for an all-new exclusive interview just for this documentary. We're also in contact with other key figures from the period, including Ben Burt, Jonathan Hales, and many others who played an enormous part in bringing this era to life.
We built a Kickstarter campaign to support the film. Join us now on this adventure at Kickstarter.com.
Indiana, we are simply passing through history. This is history.
Welcome to the Young Indy Chroniclers, a podcast about the making of the show, The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, which first aired on ABC in 1992.
Kept thinking about what was Indiana Jones like as a young man. I came up with this idea of him seeing the world through the eyes of a soldier and a secret agent.
Over the course of our podcast, we're going to talk to a whole host of very talented people who either worked on this show or were there from the beginning.
We were able to shoot it on location in the real places where these events took place.
Oh, make it up as you go. Oh boy, that's great advice.
We hired some of the best European directors, a whole host of very, very talented people.
I'm your host, Peter Holmstrom.
And I'm Daniel Noah, and this is the Young Indy Chroniclers.
There's only one rule, Indiana. Stay alive.
Welcome back to the Young Indy Chroniclers, the one and only podcast devoted specifically to the Young Indiana Jones television series and franchise. I'm your host, Peter Holmstrom, and joining me on this adventure of a lifetime is Mr. Daniel Noah.
I'm causing havoc in the streets, Peter.
What we've learned through doing this podcast is if you worked on the production of Young Indiana Jones, you truly became a jack of all trades. It was an important early job for many people in the film industry, many of whom have gone on to great success. On today's show, we're thrilled to have Paige Thomas as a guest. Paige was credited as an assistant camera for the majority of Young Indiana Jones, but has since gone on to work as a camera operator for such projects as In Plain Sight, Banshee, Halt and Catch Fire, and most recently, Suits LA. Paige Thomas, thanks very much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
You know, I'd love just to begin at the beginning with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got interested in filmmaking.
All right. Well, I went to school at Antioch College, and half the year we studied and half the year we worked. In a film class, Jeff Freilich, executive producer Jeff Freilich, came to talk to us about producing. And somehow I ended up on Freddy's Nightmares out in LA on one of my semester work studies, and the rest was history.
Jail couldn't hold him.
This man cannot be allowed to walk free.
And killing him was the worst thing they could do.
I'll be back.
Now, for the first time, see how Freddy Krueger became an unliving legend.
This night never ends.
See how it all began and why the nightmares will never stop on the next episode of Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's Nightmare.
Freddy's Nightmares, premieres Sunday at 6 on TV 29.
I went back a couple times, couple seasons, and then worked with director-producer Judy Chaikin on a documentary, Legacy of the Hollywood Blacklist.
This is a hearing room in Washington, D.C., where a congressional committee is investigating subversive acts in America. Officially named the House Committee on Un-American Activities, it has also been called the American Inquisition. In 1947, 2 years after the victory over Nazi Germany, the United States was at war with itself.
And then did a feature, Emma and Elvis in Ohio, that Julia Reicher directed.
I'd like to welcome you all to the Montana premiere of Emma and Elvis.
And with this film, Emma and Elvis, for the first time, I guess I've sort of put the spotlight onto my own generation and to some degree onto my own life.
Really bonded with some of the producers and camera people on that. Brenda Goodman, Miller Toman, Larry Banks, Crystal Griffith, Marco Fagnoli, and went to New York.
I can do this! This is who I am!
We are the Wildcats and we couldn't be prouder. And if you don't believe it, we'll shout a little.
Shut up!
Was there about a year and got the call for Young Indy. And then I guess the rest is history.
Wow, that's wild. Yeah, Freddy's Nightmares is not on your IMDb page because I would have asked about that. But what a wild show that was. But we're here to talk about Young Indiana Jones. So I wonder, what was that kind of job that you went in to interview for? What was that early call for?
David Hartley was, I think he was UPM and / producer, and he gave me a call if I wanted to come down to Wilmington, North Carolina. And I didn't really want to leave New York, so I didn't really know what Young Indy was. New York at that time was the only city in the world to me, and I loved it. And my mom was in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and this was shooting in Wilmington, North Carolina, and it was just a little bit too close to home. But he called me, and one of my mentors said, "Come on, you have to take it." And she was right. And first day of work, I was driving 2.5 hours from Chapel Hill to Wilmington, and I ended up getting pulled over, taken to the police station, and I had to call and say, "Hey guys, I had an out-of-state driver's license, so they wouldn't let me leave," and so I had to call, and they had to send a PA to come and get me out, bail me out.
Oh wow!
So that was the start of it. Hartley was a friend of the family, so dare I say, probably because my mom was real close with his sister is why I got the call.
So your mother wasn't in the industry; it was just a coincidence.
Coincidence. And
did you start as a first assistant camera operator, or what was the original role?
No, I was a second assistant / loader. And that particular day I was working with legendary first AC John Verardi from New York, who lived in Wilmington. And, I showed up probably several hours late to load the film for the camera tests. And he was just so chill and cool. Meanwhile, I was so nervous and thought for sure it would have been my last day. But a lot of mistakes were made on that show.
Mistakes were made. No mistakes. But how, do you know how early in the production you joined? Like, was it at the very beginning, or was it, had the show already been going?
I think it was bookends.
Who in the world reads this stuff?
People like you. What I wonder is if anybody in the world believes this.
The show had been going. So it was when they came to Wilmington, and I was trying to put together the timeline because I think they had already shot in Spain and maybe Paris. I couldn't figure it out.
So early on then you were working on the old Indy bookends, is that right? With the guy with the eye patch and everything? Was that kind of the stuff you were working on there?
Yeah.
What was that kind of experience like? Because it was we've seen the old bookends. They're no longer part of the show proper, and we've always kind of wondered just what was the.
Well, we also wanted to know like who directed them, like the actual production of these things, because it's often not credited. But what was that like?
It's nothing to do with being self-righteous. What is it then? Guilt? No, it's about trying to redress the balance that mankind has destroyed.
Winner takes 100. Steep. What a challenge.
Seatbelts required by our insurance.
You work for the airlines?
Man, you're all the same!
Professor Jones.
Huh?
We know it's you, Professor.
Told you boys I'd be out in an hour.
I have no idea who the director was. Like, I tried to pull him up on YouTube, and I mean, you guys have really got me motivated now to do some digging. And by the way, I have a lot of photos and stuff I can send you if you want.
Yeah, please. We'd love that. Absolutely.
I just got to dig them up. I was loading a lot lot of film. And I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for you. I wish I had some of the paperwork,
no, it's okay.
Which is probably in Wilmington, actually.
Oh, wow. Well, and I guess it's a good point. If there are permits or anything, we could pull those.
But working with the cameras, I think these were 16 millimeter cameras that you were working with. Had you ever, on a professional set, had you ever worked with 16 millimeter before?
Yeah, and actually I know some of your other guests have said we mixed 35 and 16. We were doing that at that time too. So right off the bat, there were several cameras. I don't even remember how many. And we were shooting Super 16 and as well as 35 for the plates. And
that's great. So as early as the bookends in Wilmington, which just sounds like the first season because Barcelona was early, they were shooting Super 16.
If my memories are correct, that's what I recall.
That's great because Ben Burt had mentioned that Attack of the Hawkmen was Super 16, and as a result, it had been protected for widescreen and cropped, but that the footage was there. He wasn't sure if the whole show had been, but if it was Super 16 that early, it's quite possible that the entire show was effectively shot in widescreen, which would be a great discovery for us.
I think it was.
In our perpetual quest to get a Blu-ray release and a widescreen aspect ratio version of the show. But
that'd be so good.
Stole it! It's mine! Belongs in a museum!
You did this for a little while, but then it sounds like you also, quickly moved away from the old indie bookend stuff and moved into other parts of the production. I wonder if about when did that happen, and what was that kind of transition like for you?
I think my trajectory was a bit like Chris Bromley's. We left Wilmington, and surprisingly, I was in a group that was asked to go. I met one of my best friends on there. I wish we were still close, but he's in a different country. Keegan O'Neill, who is Terry O'Neill and Vera Day's son. Chris Bromley, myself, Steve Thompson, and a few others went to London and just kind of hit the ground running. We got our travel and inoculations, and then I think we went straight to Africa. I think we went straight to Kenya.
Whoa, Africa. I've always wanted to come here. Welcome to Mombasa. Transfer to Africa provides all enlisted men automatic promotion to the rank of lieutenant.
Or maybe Ireland.
Welcome to Great Britain, Indiana.
I thought this was Ireland.
It is an ancient part of the United Kingdom. Rule Britannia.
Just like Young Indy, he's popping around just on his way to Belgium.
Was that for the train episode of Africa or the Schweitzer episode? Do you recall if there was a train involved?
Train, yeah. I think that was Peter McDonald's episode, if I'm remembering correctly, guys. I'm really sorry. This is
you are remembering correctly.
This is great. It's it's always been interesting to look at the production and even just the writing of the show, how like the way it aired doesn't always relate to the way it was produced, so like the first season from the writer's point of view was actually like 15 episodes, whereas the first season that aired is only 6. And so production wise, I do wonder if when you went over, it kind of represents a bigger shift in a lot of the production staff, that maybe, the starting with the Peter McDonald episode might have represented the new, timeline of production in that way. So kind of a new team maybe was brought in potentially.
Yeah, in Ireland, I was sick, and I don't think we were there that long. I think we were there probably maybe 2 weeks, and I was sick about 3/4 of that time.
How long have you been in Ireland, Mr. Indy?
It's Indy, just Indy.
How long have you been in Ireland, Indy?
And did you shoot in, I believe part of that episode shot in Liverpool. Did you go to Liverpool? Do you remember?
Yeah, that was awesome. Liverpool was amazing. I had a blast in Liverpool.
Poetical. Legendary, airy, fairy owl bollocks.
He said he liked your play.
He did not. He said it was challenging. That's only one step up from interesting.
Yeah, so much of the time I was loading film, and Keegan and I would, switch out because we were doing the European system, and we would load in second, and there was so many cameras, so there was quite a bit of loading going on.
Could you explain for the audience what you mean by the European system and how it differs from the American system?
Yeah, hopefully I'm going to explain it correctly, but basically when you're second in the U.S., you have a loader usually, and now a digital utility probably, and you have a loader and another person helping you. But in England at that time, we were seconding, we were hitting sticks, we were loading, we were doing the paperwork and managing the equipment as well. So we kind of like we're down a few positions compared to America.
Chris, I think, shared his opinion on the, shall we say, the work ethic of your crew and the way you guys worked compared to, what he was used to experiencing in America. And I know you're still working, and so I'm not going to ask you to judge the American system, but I will ask you if what your opinion was of how you were working and what benefits or not, what criticisms you would have of like how the crew on Young Indy operated.
I mean, I loved it so much, and I feel like I cut my teeth on Young Indy. So I really appreciate it because I felt like in some ways I was given much more responsibility as a second AC. I don't know if it's still like that today, though, in American sets, but I loved working really closely with the grip, and I still do that today as an operator. It's just different. I feel like you get more attached to the work, or I feel like we got more attached to the work because there was less people, maybe. I think now, I guess some of the shows that I work on, I'm attached to it because I'm at the eyepiece, but and the focus puller is because they're at the monitor, but maybe the seconds and the loaders aren't quite as attached as we were at the time because we were in it,
Will you look at that sunset forming?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a shame we can't shoot it.
Who says we can't? Stop the car!
What memories do you have of being in it? Like, you speak of that, and it sounds like a really powerful experience. Like, what are your emotional connections to the show?
I remember arguing with Keegan over who was going to get to do the booms on the dolly because Pete Maslowski, great dolly grip, he would allow us to do the booms and so on some of the compound moves. And as you've seen, some of the moves are pretty amazing. That was like what struck me the most was how did we do some of that? And Trevor Coop's handheld, like it looks like Steadicam. And then some of the tracking shots, like how did we do that? What did we even have to do that with? Anyhow, I digress. But yeah, me and Keegan would fight over who got to do the booms and who got to do the zooms. And I remember we had, we had a tether for the video monitor. So just like hundreds and hundreds of feet for the BNC cables. I remember one time, I think it was Africa. Keegan was wrangling cable and I was trying to help him, and I was also going back and forth to the dark room. His feet got lassoed accidentally with the BNC cable because the dolly was moving so fast and it just like pulled him off his feet and he just flew through the air. I mean, we laughed so hard about it. It was on soft grass, so he didn't get hurt, but it was just stuff like that. Like you were literally tangled up in it.
A lot of OSHA violations.
He did not get hurt at all, but it was just so funny because literally he was tangled up in, hundreds of feet of BNC cable.
It's hooked up. It's working.
And not a moment too soon.
When you were there, though, in Africa, I mean, it sounds like a lot of the times when you were on location like that, you would have been in tents. You would have been like the conditions were not, you're not at the Ritz or whatever. Like, and this was pretty early in your career. Like, what was your reaction to that kind of, rough and tumble filmmaking?
I think Chris referenced this, like the hotels. Someone referenced it. The hotels they would put us up in were so nice and comfortable. And the meals were so great that was very enjoyable. I mean, like Italy, Nairobi, Florence, Valdobbiadene, Cortina, they were just comfortable. So that was pretty posh and lovely. And I guess what was amazing about being under canvas in Africa was just such a special place. I don't know if you've been, I've only been the 2 times on Young Indy, but the smell, the colors, it's just amazing, amazing, amazing. And then to be under canvas was so special. Like the showers, it was so nice. Like they set up solar showers and actually my sister was with us in Africa. I guess Prague was before Africa. I totally got the timeline wrong. But it was also scary. Like, I think, first off, we hated the malaria tablets and we stopped taking those. And then Keegan and Chris, I don't know, they would wind us up with like animals and stuff like that. It was just, it was so remote, and I didn't think of it as, as I do now, as I've seen, things happen, even, in New Mexico. Yeah, it was pretty remote, but I feel like safety was paramount in production's mind, and they took pretty good care of us.
Hopefully you didn't get malaria, though. That's all. That's it's. I hear that sticks around. That doesn't go away. But,
yeah, thankfully I didn't get it. One thing that was really different on Indy that was a shock to me was that we didn't have carts. Like, we didn't have camera carts. And I remember they would build these little wooden tote boxes. I can't remember what they were called now, but that's what we used to carry our gear around in. And everyone kind of helped out. Like, everyone helped out a lot, carry gear. And we were in some pretty remote places, like you said, especially the Alps.
How did it go?
Great, I'm taking them across next time.
Good work. Get this to headquarters. Tell them there's a big attack coming soon. I'll see you in 3 days. Same time, same place.
Yes, sir.
And Africa.
Well, if you change your mind, Margaret, grunt.
She answered all our questions with a terse invitation to go to hell. Infuriating woman.
Stubborn. Once on a hunting expedition, just to prove she was braver than the men, she crept up behind a grazing rhinoceros and wrote Pumbavu on it.
She wrote idiot in Swahili on a rhino's butt?
In chalk.
Yeah, the location shooting is just remarkable. I mean, it's, I'm always reminded how on the Indiana Jones films, they almost avoided going on location because of the difficulty of shooting there. And yet Young Indy, I don't know whose decision ultimately it was, but I like to think it was just George just being like, no, we need to see the pyramids with this one, and none of this Tunisia for Egypt kind of thing that they did on the films.
Before I even read the script, when it said it's in Egypt, I said, do we see the Sphinx, the pyramids, or any of that? I said, no, just the streets. I said, then we don't have to go to Egypt.
You were in Africa, and then what came after Africa? Was that, where were you off to after that?
I don't know the timeline, but I know...
Just all kind of blends together, I suppose.
Yeah, it does. I think Prague.
Yeah. Well, did you go back to Prague to do more like on the soundstage kind of shooting at that point? Like, was it, or were you more based on location?
Kind of a bit of both. Like, we were at Barrendorf for a lot of things, and then also I think they needed more footage to cut in with other episodes like Paris, and I don't know what else. We're done, maybe, actually.
Magic. Change. From one thing to another. That's what I do.
So you were with the show the entire run. It sounds like, if you have the Morocco shirt, because that was the last shoot. Do you recall, kind of, as you just mentioned, like doing pickups for different episodes, but even maybe years later, when they would sort of come back and do more shooting for earlier episodes?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember what episodes were, but I remember we would do things all over, even if we would be in England. Like, I think we were at Shepparton 1 for a few weeks for something. Part of me wishes I was doing this with like other people, and honestly, I reached out to so many folks to try to rally them over the last week. Yeah, and I'll send you. But yeah, anyhow. I'm sure you have a list of people that I'll be happy to share with you.
People want to get together. We can definitely do a panel with people if they'd like. But I was curious if you remember, if you were in Morocco, there was this particular episode that Catherine Zeta-Jones was in, and you guys ended up adding almost an hour of additional footage using a series of doubles for her. And we've been long trying to figure out who directed that, and finding people who were present for it has been challenging. And Rick dodged the question. So,
wait, is this the camel thing in Prague?
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, there was a camel in the episode. We did hear that there was a tiny camel at one point. That was I think Istanbul.
It was very mean, I recall.
The camel was mean?
Yeah. I believe. Yeah, I remember it was spitting at people. Keegan would probably know.
Keegan would know?
What was it? Crispin? Was it Chris Bromley? Like, was it one of those guys? Was it Ben Burt?
We don't know. Simon Windsor thought it might have been Crispin Reese, but he didn't know for sure because it was his episode. But he was very emphatic that he did not direct the other portions of it. That was his side of that story, but didn't know who had. So we thought maybe Ben Burt, but Ben actually says he was there for one of the shoots in Arizona. I don't know if you ever remember going to Arizona to shoot anything.
I did not. That was
not directing. He said he didn't remember who was directing, which seems suspicious to me, but who knows? Maybe he just forgot.
Maybe it was Crispin. Crispin did so much of the second units.
Did he? What do you remember him shooting?
I remember, actually, why I remember it is because towards the end for Hollywood Follies, they ended up bumping me up to first assistant, and I was a bit reluctant, but I did it, and it ended up being so much fun.
And were you on the second unit with Crispin?
Yes, I was on the second unit for that. And that was, I think Ross Berriman was the main unit DP, and I don't remember who was directing the episode.
I don't remember either, actually.
It might have been Michael Schultz, who was amazing.
Yeah, it was Michael Schultz, yeah.
And he directed Morocco, as we learned.
He did, yeah.
I love that guy. He is amazing. I have some funny pictures of him, actually.
What was so you got bumped up to first AC. What was kind of your role like at that stage then on the show?
I think they just trusted me more, and they knew that I guess I could pull focus. I think I'd been pulling focus a little bit in Prague, but not officially. And generally, I think we were wide open most of the time, just like today.
Well, second unit on Hollywood Follies, where were you? Were you in the desert? Where were you shooting second unit on?
We were actually in California, Ventura, because that was the earthquake.
30 years ago today, Southern California was rocked by a massive earthquake. Dozens of people were killed. Thousands others were hurt.
6.7 magnitude quake struck Northridge in the darkness of the night. Millions of people were sleeping, just unaware and unprepared. It was the first quake to knock out power in every area of the Los Angeles region.
You were there when you shot the actual earthquake footage that was going to be used for the fake earthquake that was going to be in the episode. So
yeah, that was an interesting day. I think I was on the 11th floor.
The 11th floor?
Yeah, we were in a hotel, and I remember waking up to the earthquake, and I woke up, I thought it was a subway, I thought I was in New York, and then we all ran downstairs, and I don't remember what happened after that, but I remember we had a delayed start. I think maybe they canceled some of the sets. We lost a bunch of the sets.
I feel like George just doesn't have very good luck with natural disasters. He's, massive snowstorms on Empire Strikes Back, sandstorms on The Phantom Menace, and earthquakes on Young Indy. It just
what he gets for shooting in California.
Yeah, there you go.
I think we're having an earthquake.
Keep going!
You also worked on Radioland Murders, I see. Do you have any recollections of working on that movie?
Yeah, that was great.
It's wonderful to have this chance to talk with you here in Pasadena about Radioland Murders. I enjoyed it. It's fun.
I grew up listening to radio because we didn't get a television until I was 10 years old. When I was actually working on American Graffiti, and that's a film about fantasy and radio and that sort of thing, this movie popped into my brain at the same time. I really wanted to do a comedy. American Graffiti was amusing, but it wasn't a comedy. So I got some writers to start working on it, but by the time they finished, I was in the middle of Star Wars, and Star Wars was a success, and I put it on the shelf, and I'll get to this later.
And actually, I did some digging for that too, trying to figure out what cameras we used for you guys and like lenses and stuff. And I know that there was this new technology designed for that to transmit, I think basically just like a camera back to Skywalker to sort of show George and Lucasfilm the progress we were making. But I don't believe that it turned out very good, and I don't recall details about that because we weren't responsible for it.
We've heard that. We've heard that George had a monitor, basically, we would say, where he could see what was being shot, live in California, which was definitely groundbreaking in 93, 94. I mean, that was very cutting edge technology.
It's just so interesting to think of how Radioland Murders feels almost like in Young Indiana Jones season 2.5, just because of the amount of crew. It was the same crew. It was shot in Wilmington. Just as Rick says, Rick told us how they kind of just had a window.
It wasn't until I found Mel Smith that I found somebody that sort of related to the material, understood it, and I thought could do a good job. And we had the window opportunity to make it.
It was a grueling schedule, but it was great. It was so great. Anamorphic, JDC cameras.
The knife in the back. The sound of the human head smashing.
Am I a complete raving lunatic, or have we not been paid anything in the last 3 weeks?
Can't both be true.
You need to watch it again. I mean, David Tattersall, some of the DPs on Young Indy and Radioland Murders were just amazing. It was wonderful. And then actually the day we wrapped, I think we went straight to the airport to leave for Thailand.
For Thailand. To go shoot Peacock's eye. Wow.
Follow that rickshaw. What time shall we start our expedition?
As soon as it gets dark. 8 o'clock. Remember, Syke, we financed this whole thing. Without us, you'd still be a starving conniver.
Be in the lobby, 8 o'clock.
And what was Thailand like? Do you have any recollections of being there?
Amazing crew. I think that was Carl Schultz and David Tattersall. I don't think Giles Nuggens was there, but I can't remember. But yeah, it was beautiful. The crews were really supportive. Everything about it was gorgeous. We had a good time. I heard Chris's episode. I didn't realize he got sick. Food poisoning. I thought that was kind of funny. I mean, not funny. Sorry, Chris. I had a great time in Thailand. I was working with Richard Lacey and Trevor Coop. I can't remember the 8-camera operator. I think it was Trevor Coop, and maybe it was Malcolm McIntosh. But I was really happy to be Richard's second. He was a great guy to work for. And Carl Schultz was an amazing director. He had been a cameraman in the past, and we had a blast.
So you were on the first unit in Thailand?
Yeah.
So the scene in that episode where they go to the temples.
Why would the freeze be part of the map if it doesn't pinpoint where the diamond is?
Look, Alexander is on his horse, and he's right under the tallest mountain. There are 3 mountains.
And there's 3 temples. He's looking in the wrong place. It must be in the center temple.
Was that on location, or was that a studio when there's a fight?
I think it was on location. If I recall, there were quite a few temples there. Guys, I'm sorry, I'm so fuzzy on the details.
No, it's all right. It certainly looks like a location. So, if you don't have some memory of being in a studio, I feel like you'd remember if you went to a soundstage for, when you're in Thailand. So,
but yeah, no stages.
That's really cool that is a real temple. I mean, my suspicion is no other Indiana Jones movie has actually shot in a real temple, right? Like it's always been stages. That's kind of cool,
It is way cool.
That was a fun, and I think that, and I got to look it up, that villain in that.
I would like to repay you with a kindness. But it's not in my nature.
He went on to be...
Look, I can't hold forever. If you reach him, tell him Leia has an urgent message for him.
I believe he's tooling with you, sir.
About his mother.
That's a fun episode. It's the most sort of Indiana Jones-like of the show.
This pictograph represents Sankara.
The Nazis are looking for the headpiece to the Staff of Ra.
The Holy Grail, Dr. Jones.
Who is that? Francisco de Orellana, the Conquistador.
Many believe this to be a small replica of a statue once in the possession of Alexander the Great. It was made of pure gold.
It was diamond eyes.
Yes. Each 140 carats. The statue was destroyed shortly after Alexander's death.
But the diamond. Tell him about the diamond eyes.
One eye was sold to the Emperor of India and subsequently cut up into smaller diamonds, and the other eye
was stolen. To this day, no one knows where it is. Is that right?
There is a tale of a British colonel. He was serving out in India 100 years ago, and the story goes that he found the diamond.
The diamond, Lau. The deal was for the diamond.
You didn't tell me that.
You didn't ask.
Well, if he found the diamond, where is it now?
He discovered it in an ancient temple, but before he could abscond with it, he was discovered by possessive monks who held him prisoner. But he managed to smuggle a map out to his son.
And the map? Never been found?
Not that I've heard of.
Thank you.
But do you remember any kind of crazy stunts or anything you had to shoot maybe that was maybe a little dangerous in Thailand?
No, I just remember stunts in general was just off the hook.
Where is she going?
Every which way you cut it. The trains, the horses.
Okay, now what?
You're the train expert!
Oh, great, me and my big mouth. Are they friendly?
Does that answer your question, sir?
The wars. No, I wish I would have watched that episode to refresh my memory, and I didn't.
It's all right. We'll get you back for a commentary. You can watch it with us. But Chris mentioned the train catching fire. Do you remember? Were you a witness to the train on fire?
No, I think I was on a different unit, but the train was challenging. And I couldn't believe that story about the guy who fell, and it was such a great fall.
Excuse me.
It was brilliant. No, but I do have a story about Turkey.
Please.
Let's hear it, please.
And I have a story about the train, and I'll just go ahead and say it because that was Peter McDonald, and I think we had probably 9 cameras out, and they let me take one out, and they were going to allow me to switch it on because usually I didn't get to switch on the cameras. And I had my finger by the trigger, and as soon as the train blew, I jumped and I turned it off. And I was just crushed.
Oh no.
Yeah. It was really sad. And then, but Peter was so sweet, and kind of like he said in his interview, he was super cool about it. He's like, you'll never make that mistake again. And
I inherited the crew that had been on in the previous episodes. But I must say they were all okay. But they always, if we're having a meeting and I'm the director, I'm going to do the shooting, their eye line would always be to Rick, not to me. And I realised then that, who behind the scenes, who was the boss.
Thank goodness there were 9 other cameras.
Yeah, I was
going
going to say, plenty of cameras.
Plenty of cameras.
And those old 16 millimeter cameras, is it a trigger system where you have to sort of be depressing the trigger? Is that how that works?
No, I should have taken my hand away from the trigger, but it was just a switch, like
Gotcha.
Like this, and you just
switched it off.
Or you put it down, and then I jumped. Because I didn't want to waste any film. Boy, did I not waste any film. But anyhow, preserve end. Yeah, but Turkey, some of the horse stunts there were pretty intense. And I know this was not during the filming, but we got to ride on our days off, and one of the horses ran away with me, and one of the stunt guys came and stopped it. But that was
oh wow.
How big were these horses?
That was an adventure. Well, I heard Chris say they were little. I mean, to me, they seemed pretty normal size, but. Yeah, full speed gallop, and I grew up riding horses, so they were kind of wild horses, frankly.
Turkish horses.
I promise.
Turkish horses. If you grew up on them, I feel like you would know. Like it's maybe everyone else was just they were told they were small horses or something. Like they're ultra rare small horses. You have to pay more for them.
Maybe they were just smaller, like I don't know, than the Spanish horses, but I don't know. I think we had a bomb threat in Turkey.
It's a great honor to meet the hero of Gallipoli.
There were many heroes at Gallipoli. Unfortunately, the victory we won there has since been squandered.
And I was asking Sophie Milton about it, and she's like, I don't remember, but...
You're in touch with Sophie Milton?
Yeah.
We would love to speak to Sophie Milton.
I have her email for you.
Thank you, because Yeah, she was Rick's assistant and played Catherine Zeta-Jones.
No Bedouin would do this.
Yeah, well, I'm not a Bedouin.
No, you're a fool. It's impossible to get those camels across this bridge.
It's not impossible.
Sophie Milton. I was after she was like, oh heavens, that was so long ago. I don't know. She was hilarious. I think it takes a while to jump back into it, and kind of dig up the memories.
I can only imagine. I mean, 30 years ago, career, you've been on so many things. It must feel like a different lifetime.
For sure. What I love so much about it is being in touch with a lot of the folks that worked on it or were part of it. It's pretty nice. Have you guys talked with Sean Patrick?
We're trying. You got an email for Sean Patrick?
No.
He's he's a busy guy and has his own life and own family and such, and so he's.
We've reached out. He knows how to find us.
But no, we're very hopeful. Did you work on any of the episodes with Toddler Indy with Corey Carrier? I mean, you have the Morocco shirt, so it's very very probable you did. But
yeah, and I think he was in Wilmington too for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I just remember him being great. I think they did some dance scenes for the bookends he was in. And I just remember all the actors, they always knew their lines. They were just fantastic and amazing people and collaborators as well.
It really feels like a show where it's just the casting was A+. It's just they always brought on real consummate professionals. I don't think we've heard a word against any of the actors ever. It's very, very positive in that way.
Did you ever meet George Lucas in person?
Yeah, and I was trying to think the first time I met him. I think it was Wilmington, and I guess it was on Bookends because he came to set, and there's a photo of it. And then Radioland Murders, and I believe he came to Thailand. Don't remember him in Africa, but maybe he was there. Yeah, he was amazing. And my friend John Cambria was kind of his right-hand person on Radioland Murders, and they went out and were shooting a lot of stuff. And maybe he would be a good one to talk with too, because he was his camera assistant.
I'd love to. We'd love to talk to anybody.
But George was so sweet and kind and down to earth and mellow. Just a really amazing person.
Did you ever see him operate the camera? We heard he liked to sometimes operate the camera.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember he would just pop up and David Tattersall would be like, oh, there's George. So it was kind of like, he's like, oh, that's not lit, and he would go light it. But yeah, George would, he would show up just kind of, I think pretty much unannounced. And then he would be like, oh my gosh, we gotta make it all nice for him. And
we're open to suggestions.
Damn right you are. Here am I.
Because he was so innovative, and he would come up with different shots and things. I guess that the directors were focusing on.
I always love that. The stories we hear about George. Just I don't know. He seems like just a very cool boss kind of guy, and just I don't know. I just love it. I love it.
Yeah, the best. Wish we could do it again.
We've heard everyone we've talked to has always just said that was one of the best times at Lucasfilm, and for many people of their careers. So it's always just really, really heartwarming to hear that, and it feels like a place where really just you were able to kind of explore your craft in that way and have just really fun times doing it. Which is very cool to hear.
You remember when you went to Morocco? Were you aware, or did you have a sense? Do you remember having a sense that it was the last shoot? Do you know if that was the feeling?
No, I don't recall that at all.
When you remember when you realized it was over, do you remember when you knew that? No,
I just remember I was pretty tired by the end because I think we were doing such long hours, and it was 6-day weeks. And I remember coming home and pretty much collapsing. I kept thinking we would go again, I think. I don't know if they had formally announced it to someone of my position. I don't remember them announcing it.
Yeah. And from what we know, it wasn't that they intended to stop. It was like, they had money. They went till the money was gone, and they may not have had a thought of like, oh, we're not going to do anymore, but it just sort of ended.
Yeah, because we were going for so long and for so, so hard, I guess, that when it stopped, it was kind of like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an intense schedule, very intense schedule.
Well, you were on the show for, 5 years? I mean, how many years was it?
I think it was about 5 years. I mean, honestly, like digging the shirt out and listening to the podcast, I thought it was last year's. That was 3 years. But the timeline is 91 to 96.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Radioland Murders kind of squeezed in there somewhere, but yeah.
How much of human life is lost in waiting?
So, I mean, once the show was over and you were kind of back on the playing field, so to speak, like what was, did you find it was easy to find jobs after Young Indy, or did you find it was a little bit of a, I guess what I'm asking is like, what was kind of the industry's reception to like that list of credits on your resume? Were people like, oh, wow, this is really cool? Or were people just kind of like, okay, great?
I think I was so proud of it. And I was so proud of, traveling like that and being part of that family. But I think the reception was a little bit mid. Like, I think people were kind of like, oh, okay, great. Good for you. And I'm like, wait, but I worked so hard. I can work for you too.
Yeah, no, it feels, I mean, that said, you were able to bounce back very quickly. I see, 97, you had worked on I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Somebody sent this to me. Oh my God. Someone knows.
I Know What You Did Last Summer. Ooh.
What they thought would be a new beginning.
Toast to us.
Is becoming a dead end.
And you kept working very steadily, throughout the, until now.
Did you find you were able to transition onto like when you did I Know What You Did Last Summer? Did you struggle at all to transition from sort of the Young Indy mode to whatever life was like on I Know What You Did Last Summer?
Probably when I was working with American assistants, I probably wasn't doing it the right way or the American way. I Know What You Did Last Summer was pretty amazing, and that was a Scottish GP, Dennis Crossan, who was great. So that was probably a good transition film. But I remember Mike Rapetta was my second AC on that, and I remember him joking. We had worked together before, but I remember him joking things were a little maybe not as by the book as they should have been.
He's waiting for us to unravel. The wait is over.
Yeah, that was a great experience, that one.
Have you worked almost exclusively in the U.S. since Young Indy?
Yeah, I did one feature in the Philippines, which was really good fun. And my friend Steve Thompson came with me on that, who was also in Young Indy, and he gaffed it for me. And that was the only time I've been out of the country, with the exception of a music video in Aruba.
Well, as one does.
But yeah, the Philippines was great, and I feel like Young Indy kind of gave me that being on location kind of part, but it was definitely different and not as nice.
The accommodations were not as nice in the Philippines, what you're saying, as they were on Young Indy.
Not consistently, no.
Did your paths with Lucasfilm ever cross after Young Indy? Was there any jobs you were up for, or any projects maybe you helped out on that you're not credited on, or were you off to other things?
I really wish. I was at Manhattan Beach Studios working on Diary of a Future President, and Star Wars was next to us, and I would go by there and just kind of look. And no, I wish.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. Don't you agree?
You could have popped up like George used to pop up and just started popping the cameras.
Yeah. Let's do this.
Well, it's funny because, talking to people like you and Chris, there's this whole group of people who, if you look on their LinkedIn page or their resume, like at the very beginning, it'll just say Lucasfilm, right? And it's like it's a very quiet story, because it's like, that now I think means it's just, bought by Disney. It's this big brand, and there's people who work for Lucasfilm now. A lot of people work for Lucasfilm, but like that was a pretty small group back in 92 and 94. and you guys you're like this whole class. You're like the first class of this Lucasfilm employee thing. And no one talks about you. And that's one of the reasons we're here. One of the things we're into. It's like, there was this whole world and this whole way of making films, before they went sort of all digital, right? Where it was like, we're outside, we're traveling, we're going to stay in hotels, we're going to pay you scale, but we're going to feed you well, whole approach to filmmaking. And we just don't want to see it lost. We want to get that story out there.
Thank you guys. That's so wonderful. Thank you for your pursuits. I mean, pretty awesome time. And I'm thankful that you see it and want to know more.
Now, I do have another question here. I see on your IMDb page that your first credit as a cinematographer was for it's listed as a video here called Kingdom Come, and the main star is Sean Patrick Flannery. So I wonder if you have any recollection. What is that? What is it? And was this something you guys did in between takes on Young Indy? What was this?
Yeah, actually, it was on one of our days off.
Wow.
It was a little project that he wanted to direct with Veronica. What is her last name?
Like Veronica Logan here. Veronica Logan.
Yes, and she was in one of the Italian episodes.
Yeah. She's the
she's Italian, the girl that we talked to Jay about.
Jay
Underwood. We spoke to Jay Underwood, and he recalled. So was this done while you were in Italy?
Yeah, I think it was Italy. I couldn't remember if it was Italy or Prague, but I think it was Italy. It would have to have been.
Was it a quick? Like, how long did it take? How long did it take to do this?
One day. We shot it in one day on a Sunday. We might have shot it in 2 days, but I think it was one day. You
don't have a copy of this, do you?
Probably.
Well, we would love to see it. I mean, and if it's a tape, we'll. I don't know. I guess you're here in LA, so I'll come get it, and I can digitize it for you and give you the copy back.
What's do you have any recollection of what it was?
Yeah, it was a little short film that he wrote and directed.
I guess he just loves working. That's the thing. It's days off. He's just gonna keep on working.
It was really fun.
I know he's written and directed over the years, but it's that's just very cool that even at this point he was just like, yeah, we'll do something. We'll just throw it together and it'll be great.
Yeah, I think they edited at Skywalker.
Really? Wow, interesting.
Great. He got to make his own film at Skywalker Ranch.
I don't really know, to be honest. It was.
Maybe if we send an interview request about Kingdom Come, he'll come on the show.
I wonder if you would remember the title. I mean, did you see some of it?
No, I just saw it on your IMDb page. It's literally, it doesn't even list that Sean wrote and directed it.
I should add his name. It's very colorful, and David Tattersall was our creative consultant. And
did you shoot on the 16 millimeter cameras?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I think Jamie Christopher was the AD. Keegan might have been focus puller.
The only other, there's only a handful of credits on the IMDb page. One of them's yours, but then Matthew Wood is credited as the sound mixer on here. So
that would make sense. They did it at Skywalker.
Yeah, if they did it at Skywalker. So who knows if this is accurate or not? But that is wild. That's very fun.
Yeah, I think I remember Sean telling me that they edited it and then he sent me a copy. I don't even know how I got the copy. It's probably on tape. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't go through it.
No, that's all right. I see you worked on In Plain Sight, and it's funny because I learned in editing the Jay Underwood episode, he talks about Fred Weller, who was in Mystery of the Blues, as Young Indy episode, who was, I believe is a regular on In Plain Sight.
If we figure out who Calissimo was waiting for, we might just find the murderer.
Ow! I can't believe you'd hit a girl.
You're no girl. I feel like I'm in a movie. Sometimes I feel like I'm in a movie too.
Let me guess, Clueless.
Actually, I was going to say Taming of the Shrew.
Did you work with Fred on Young Indy?
I guess so. Yeah, I did. Isn't that crazy? I wish I would have told Fred. I didn't tell him on In Plain Sight.
Well, that had been already, I think, 20 years, so it's not like it was recent.
But yeah, Fred's amazing, and a lot of those actors have done so well, and amazing talents.
Yeah, I did a deep dive on him because Jay mentioned him, and the credits were great. I mean, Jay's credits, even things I didn't know, like West Wing, and really strong careers. Lucas has good luck with casting in general, but definitely on Young Indy, they really hit it out of the park.
Yeah, I was just watching some of those episodes. The the guests, the women that were in all of the episodes are just phenomenal.
Don't you have any sense of priority, Indiana Jones? If those plans get into German hands, thousands of people could die.
I'm afraid this is a terrible imposition. What kind of a democracy is it now when half the population are not allowed to vote simply because they are women?
Who are you with? That is none of your business. We've known each other 48 hours. I hardly think that entitles you to come in here and try to take over my life.
Don't be modest. I'm sure you enjoy tying women up.
The 3 gentlemen who entered Austria by train no longer exist. Now there are only 3 young Austrian soldiers on leave.
If you made an effort to share your toys instead of fighting over them, nobody would have broken it and you could have both played. Instead, each of you ends up with nothing. Am I right?
Vina, you must take a note to the Colonel. Here's some books. A1.
Delphina, hurry. The real attack is here. At Beersheba.
You're a traitor.
Not to my cause. I'm glad you have a friend, though. The city can be awfully lonely if you don't.
Well, don't tell me you're lonely.
You mean the crowd last night? Oh, they're sort of friends, I guess. But there's no one close. Do you have anybody like that?
What have they done to you, Indiana Jones?
Oh, this is my costume. Didn't you get my letter?
That's why I'm here.
I see that you are most intelligent for a woman.
Thank you, sir. I see that you are most courteous for a man.
I was trying to see, what they did after.
It was such a launching pad for so many young actors and actresses. It's just to see all the recognizable faces that have since gone on to massive stardom. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild.
And a lot of the DPs, too.
What we try to do is go through all of the scenes for the next week. So it really gives George an opportunity to think about his blocking. And once he's decided where everybody's going to be, then I can work on a lighting scheme.
Basically, I spend most of the day running between the sets and running between the monitors to make sure that we can actually make these images look the same. And there's a lot of pressure to actually achieve that within a very short amount of time.
Yeah, it's wild how many people behind the scenes, this was really their launching pad for so much of their careers. It truly, feels almost like a film school in and of itself. That just so many people got such huge career breaks with this show.
It was really, what I had dreamed of. And to be part of it was so special and such a gift. It was pure magic.
What is this? It's the parachute.
A parachute? What's it for?
Didn't they tell you? That is how spies are dropping on enemy lines. What? You jump out of the airplane with it.
Well, Paige, you've been very kind with your time here, but what are you working on these days? What's keeping you busy? No, Suits LA wrapped up recently, but what's on the horizon for you?
Yeah, just trying to get this feature made called Balloon, and working on this little TV show that's a no-budget TV show called Sub-Reality with Dale, and looking for work. So those are just 2 passion projects that I'm working on.
Is Sub-Reality shooting in Austin?
Yeah, it is. We've done 2 episodes. They're really kind of like little short YouTube-y things, and we're trying to do episode 3 the next few weeks, and then Dale Kennedy has got this feature called Balloon that he wrote about mental health, and I'm hoping that we can get that made.
Do you feel like there's an industry in Austin, is there a film scene growing there?
I sure hope so. I know the incentives have just recently boomed, but I've been here off and on 9 years, and usually I just work in LA. So I've plugged in a little bit, but I still feel kind of like an outsider here. I kind of split my time, and it was a great place for my daughter to grow up, and now she's off to college. So,
yeah. Well, you can go. And your career, you've worked with so many stars. I see. I forgot. Of course, I just forgot the name. I saw Havoc on your resume, and Anne Hathaway. I was like, oh, you worked with Anne Hathaway before she was Anne Hathaway, really?
Hypothetically, is it possible that all this is really about you being attracted to me.
Oh, yeah, that was a fun one. That was a real fun one. Kramer shot that. Kramer's amazing.
Did you have a favorite? I mean, you shouldn't pick a favorite, but do you have a favorite film or star that you've worked on?
Oh, boy. I don't. I can't. I cannot. I can't. I mean, I want to say Sean Patrick because he was one of us.
What do you mean they're no opening number costume?
They disappeared.
Disappeared? How could they have disappeared? Somebody must have stolen them.
All we've got is our feathers, Indy. What are we gonna do?
Take them off. Take them off.
Yeah.
He was one of us, and he made it fun. I remember one time, I think we were in Prague, and he had these water balloons he was throwing. It was great. And like we made the film on our day off, and he liked go-karts, and he was one of us. So working with him was kind of like working with a brother. So it was, I have to say, Sean.
Well, I know he lives in Texas now, so if you ever see him,
tell him we want him on the podcast. No,
you want him on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Since we know Texas is so small, you guys practically run into each other in the grocery store, I'm sure, all the time.
Yeah.
Well, Paige, thanks so much for being on the show today. It's been a real pleasure to speak with you, and hope we can get you back on sometime. If we're able to wrangle up a panel, we'd love to.
Or a commentary. If seeing the episode would jog your memory, we would be happy to put one up on the screen for you and let you just remember things.
Oh, my gosh. Guys, thank you so much. And I'm so glad you opened up this treasure chest. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And I'll email you Terry Bamber and Sophie and Steve Thomas. There's a ton of people. Richard Lacey. It'd
be great.
I mean, the list goes on and on. So hopefully it's not too many.
It'd be really wonderful. Yeah, thank you so much for that. It's finding contact info is truly the hardest part of the of getting guests on the show. So it's any help would be super appreciated.
What a great show! Thank you so much, you two.
No, thank you. It was a real pleasure.
Yeah, listeners out there, if you'd like to get in touch with us, you can find us at Young Indy Pod on Instagram. Please follow us on YouTube. Also, if you like the show, consider subscribing to us on Patreon. So for Daniel and myself, thanks very much for being here. Until next time, keep on adventuring. We're the Young Indy Chroniclers podcast, and we're producing a new feature-length documentary, George Lucas, The Lost Golden Age.
Those 4 years in there was the happiest period for Lucasfilm.
We're thrilled to report Rick McCallum has agreed to sit with us for an all-new exclusive interview just for this documentary. We're also in contact with other key figures from the period, including Ben Burt, Jonathan Hales, and many others who played an enormous part in bringing this era to life.
We built a Kickstarter campaign to support the film. Join us now on this adventure at Kickstarter.com.